Okay, welcome everybody to this webinar that is part of the international webinar series, Digital, Inclusive, and Multilingual Pedagogies in Language Education. This is webinar 5, which is a bit more special, but we will present or introduce what this webinar will be about in a minute. So for those of you who haven't joined us in any of the previous webinars, we just wanted to share with you that all of these series of 7 webinars that we are organizing are part of this Lingua Tech Europe Academy. This is a teacher academy coordinated by the Teacher University from Turkey. And we would like to give you some brief information about the project. So LiTE Academy is a teacher academy that aims to enhance language education in Europe by improving the competences of pre-service and in-service teachers through integrating digital tools, inclusive practices, and multilingual pedagogies. This is what we've called themes within the framework of the project, with the aim of meeting students' needs and in an evolving educational landscape and environment. So within this project, we are 8 partners, institutions from a total of 5 different countries. And this project is co-funded by the European Union. So as I've mentioned before, the coordinating institution is Teacher University from Turkey, also the University of Córdoba, another partner institution, but we also have institutions from Germany, Norway, another one from Spain, also 2 more universities from Turkey, and also 1 institution from Portugal. So as part of this webinar series, we have included this specific webinar, webinar 5, which is entitled Doctoral Colloquium on Digital, Inclusive, and Multilingual Pedagogies, that is specially aimed at PhD students who are taking part in the Language and Cultures, Lenguas y Culturas doctoral program from the University of Córdoba, University of Huelva, University of Jaén, and University of Extremadura, all of them from Spain. But of course, we have also invited PhD students and candidates who may be interested in taking part in this particular webinar. The idea is that PhD students that you will as you will see in a minute, they will be sharing their thesis ideas, and they will also be connecting these ideas and these research programs with the 3 main ideas or topics of the LiTE Academy, which are, as I've mentioned before, multilingual pedagogies, digital pedagogies, and also inclusion. So my colleague, Cristina Huertas-Abril, and myself from the University of Córdoba will be more or less moderating or leading this webinar. But as I've mentioned before, it will be 5 different PhD students who will be basically sharing their research ideas with you all. So before we start, we would also like to share with you some, let's say, technical ideas that you may need to consider, especially if you are taking this specific webinar and also the webinar series as part of the Lenguas y Culturas doctoral program. And also if you want to receive this specific certificate, to consider the webinar series as one training seminar that will be essential for your training program. Okay, so these requirements are only necessary or important for those PhD students who are taking the webinar series to get a certificate, a specific special certificate as a training seminar. So as you probably know, because you have probably read all the information about the webinar series, it is compulsory to attend all the webinars, but apart from that, or additional to that, you also need to write and submit a report summarizing the main ideas of all the webinars, except for this one, because this one is a bit special. So you need to summarize the main ideas, the main ideas that you have gathered or collected from these webinars. And you also need to include a final general conclusion specifying what you have learned. So this report needs to be approximately 1,000 words. Okay, it needs to be written in English, and you need to send it to this email account that you can see on the screen. And also, please make sure that you submit it before or the latest, the 12th of June. Sorry,
June,
the
no,
12th of
July.
July. Okay, July. Sorry,
July.
there's a typo. We will correct this. We will correct this presentation, and we will also share it with you. Okay, so 12th of July. Sorry. So that means you will have 2 weeks after the last webinar. Okay. So again, this is only for those participants who are presenting today, and also who want to or also who want to get the specific certificate of this webinar series as a training seminar, okay? The rest of the participants, you will also be receiving the normal certificates that we are already sending as in the previous webinars, okay? So having said this is basically the planning for today. Okay, so we have 5 speakers who want to share their research ideas, research plans, and also connect them to the LiTE Academy topics. Okay, so first of all, we will have Jose Ángel Segura Maíz from the University of Córdoba. Then we will have Bárbara Huzarova, also from the University of Córdoba. Then we will have Marta Elba Carrillo Patarón from the University of Huelva. And finally, we'll have 2 more speakers from the University of Córdoba. We'll have Rosalía González Paco and Fulia Cayalar. Okay, so I mean, we have already sent or shared with the speakers the organizing characteristics of the webinar. But for the rest of you to know, they will have around 10 to 15 minutes to share with you their research ideas. And then we will have, after each of the presentations, we will have around 5 minutes for questions or for feedback. And during this time, we will open the chat, both the chat, but we will also have the questions and answer option that we will normally use in the rest of the webinars. So having said that, Jose Angel, whenever you're ready, you can start sharing your presentation and we can start with you.
As I told you, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Cristina Fran, for giving me this opportunity. My name is Jose Angel. I am doing my PhD in the University of Córdoba in the Language and Culture program. And today I will tell you what my thesis is about and what I have done so far. Please, next one, Fran. Thank you. First of all, I would like to tell you who am I. I am a primary school English teacher. I work for a public school here in Spain. And I think that this is quite important because I don't do the research from outside the classroom. I do it from inside. So all the data come from real classroom and real student. And I think that this is the strength of my work. Okay, please, next one, Fran. After being teaching for more than 12 years, I realized that the English area, the English subject, it is one of the subjects that the students feel the most here in Spain, and it is also one of the area at which students lose their interest, and they don't really like at all. So I don't know how it was or how it is in the rest of Europe, but here in Spain, nowadays the classrooms are more and more diverse. There are more and more students with special needs. And there are many different levels inside the classroom too. So it's quite difficult to teach in our classroom today. Recently, nowadays, there is a new reality. We find more and more students which speak more than one language. So we've got 2 or 3 languages inside the classroom. So this is the context, and dealing with this content was when I started thinking about how can cooperative learning help me to teach, or how can cooperative learning make a student learn easier for them. Okay, so with this idea in mind, I started to work in my thesis. So please, Fran, next one. My thesis, the next one, sorry. There is another one here. Thank you. My thesis has 5 different levels of work, as you can see here in the roadmap. And number one is what the student think about cooperative learning. The number two is the inclusion of a student with special needs. Three is how to manage the classroom with cooperative learning. Four is training future teacher. And five is comparing cooperative learning with the traditional teaching method. Three of these five lines are already done, but there are two more that it is still in progress. So now I'm going to show you what do we have done so far. Okay, so next, please, Fran. This was my first study. It was my first case. This study was in sixth grade of primary education. In that classroom, there were two deaf students working together with their hearing classmates. For these two students, the foreign language, so the English was very difficult and very hard. We have to bear in mind that the first language was their sign language, the second language was the Spanish language, and their third language was the English, the foreign language area in our case. And that was the tricky part, okay? I have to use the three languages at the same time to make them work or to make them learn English. So in that difficult situation, I used cooperative learning. In particular, I used two different techniques to make them work. And it seemed that it was pretty cool because thanks to this technique, they could work at the same time or at the same level of the rest of their classmates. The techniques that I used was the jigsaw. Another Keegan technique called Fang and Pick. So please, Fran, can you? Good. What happened in that classroom? Okay, the year before, at the end of the school year, both the children, both students, finished the school year with 4 and 5 by the end of the school year. After a year working with cooperative learning method, both students got a 7 at the end of the school year. And that is particularly interesting because the average of their classmates, the result of the rest of the classmate with no hearing problem was 6.7. So it was good. I don't want to oversell this. I don't think that this is something magical, something special. But the fact is that most of the students got a pretty good result thanks to cooperative learning. And what was the most beautiful thing was that once you get into the classroom, I remember that you didn't realize that there's something different in the classroom. So thanks to cooperative learning, they work as if they didn't have any hearing problem or any difficulty. So there was a group of students, and it seemed to be that they were able to work together at the same time with no problems. So it was quite interesting. Next, please, Fran. My second study was in a very different place, was in a public rural school with a classroom with a student from 4 different levels. So we create only one group with a student from 4 different levels, working all together at the same time. And once again, I use the jigsaw techniques from Keegan. And after spend the lesson with this group of students, I realized, or I found two important things. The first one was quite good. Is thanks to cooperative learning, a student from different levels and could work together, could interact, could do all the work that I proposed, and they could finish all the tasks. So thanks to cooperative learning, that huge difference between the academic level from the 4 different school year, the student works pretty cool together. But the second thing or something uncomfortable that I found was the fact that they didn't use the language, the English, the target language. Okay, they preferred to interact using the Spanish language, but finally, by the end of the lesson, they had to carry out a small grammar test, and all the classroom did a pretty good job in that test. So they started to interact using their mother language, but they spend to each other, they cooperate, and they learn how to use their second language, in this case the English language. But mm, it was good. So cooperative learning create a good interaction, but the interaction alone does not make them use English, but they learn a lot. Okay. So next, Fran, please. How all this, or how my thesis connect with the pillar of the LiTE Academy? Oof. Probably, obviously, if we take a look to the first one, to the inclusion, this is the biggest one, okay? Because my work asks if cooperative learning works for the most vulnerable students, or for those students which present any peculiarity or any difficulty in the teaching learning process. So in this way, I think that my thesis goes with this pillar. Dealing with the multilingualism in a real way, I can affirm that, for example, in the first study with the deaf student, we have to use three different languages at the same time. Even in the rural classroom, we use different mixed ability level together, and there was a different student with different profiles. So thanks to cooperative learning, we create a good atmosphere to work all together. Last, with the digital resources, I must be honest, I don't use the computer or any digital platform to implement the cooperative learning, but it could be a good future line of work to see if or how can implement cooperative learning using this kind of digital platform, but no, not yet. Okay. Next, please, Fran. Thank you. What left to do? Well, have to. I'm still working two different lines. One of them is the training for future teacher in cooperative learning. I would like to know how do they know about that? How can, or how they want to, or how they would like to implement into their future teaching practice. And the other one, it's going to be a bigger study. This is the part where I will compare cooperative learning with the traditional teaching method. This time will be with more students, with a control group. But I think that probably, I'm sure that there is no one method better than the other. Probably, if we mix both the traditional teaching method with some specific techniques, I think that in that way we will get the best result. But we will see. Okay. So, Fran, please. And that's it. I will finish with a question. Okay, it's come straight from that comfortable result from the rural school. Under what condition does cooperative learning create not just an interaction, but real use of English? Maybe that question is too simple, because in fact they use the language, just not English. They use their first language to think, to help, to cooperate, to understand, and to teach to other classmates. And I think that it was no bad. So it was good that the kids use the Spanish to explain the thing that they have to do. But I think that the real question would be where is the line between the first language as a scaffolding techniques to make students learn, or as the first language as a way to avoid the target language. No, that's the problem that I found in the last case. And I don't have the answer yet. So if here someone works on something similar, I love to talk. So that was all. Thank you very much for listening. And if you've got any question, I will be glad to answer you.
Thank you, Jose. I have opened the chat so everybody can make some comments or questions apart, obviously, from the traditional Q&A box. So I don't know if somebody here may share their experience or if they have any question or some comments. Let's see. I think that's they can use the chat. Or maybe in the Q&As. Okay. We have a question that's, sorry, I would like to know briefly what exactly is cooperative learning, Jose.
Cooperative learning is something magical, okay? For me, is a way to teach. It's not a specific from for the language area. You can use in any subject, but it's a way to organize your classroom with your student in that manner that each of the student has a role or is in charge of doing something special. Okay, and after a first is or small dynamic, they have to share that experience and you have to propose a final aim. So for example, in my case, the detailed techniques is one of the techniques that I use to teach English in my teaching practice. I used to divide the grammar into 4 different small pieces. For example, imagine that you want to teach the present simple or any particular of grammar. Okay, so one group work together to analyze how to use any tense in affirmative, another group in negative, another group in interrogative, and another one, the fourth one, spelling rules or some particular or some uses of that particular tense. So you leave a specific time to, depending on the academic level of the student, you leave a 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour to work in that small groups until they become expert. And after that time, they create a new one and they become expert in that particular thing. So they have to teach to the rest of their classmates the affirmative, the negative, the interrogative, and the spelling rule, for example. So the end of the end is to accomplish that task, to make them learn, for example, the present simple in the verb to be or whatever. And you have to divide the content of the lesson into small pieces, and each group of students work together until they get that information. And after that, they are the person in charge to explain to the rest of the classmates the particular thing that they have been working on.
Okay, so they say yes, like mixed abilities classroom. Well, more or less, with different roles.
That's it. That's it. It's a way to organize the classroom, okay? That you've got different students together, and obviously you have to create a small group, bearing in mind the abilities of each one, okay? There is some rules that you have to bear in mind before create that group, and it's a manner it's a way to make all the students work together at the same time.
Okay, Bahar says, no question, but that was an interesting topic. I didn't have the experience to teach students with specific needs, and it was really interesting to know how cooperative learning can support their learning process.
What kind of a specific needs?
No, that she didn't have. the experience with special
Sure.
needs?
So I had the opportunity to work with deaf students, so they cannot hear. Not one of them had a rest of hearing, but the other one was completely deaf. Obviously, this kind of this student, they cannot produce, they cannot listen to anything, so they cannot speak neither. So dealing with the written language, they could work at the same time of the rest of the classmates. So they could write, they could work on grammar, on reading comprehension question, on vocabulary. So thanks to this technique and joint group work at the same time with the rest of the classmates. So that was what made different using cooperative learning or a traditional teaching method, because in a traditional classroom, probably these kids were alone or were working with a specific teacher only in one corner. But here they were working with the rest of their classmates, so they had no problem, and they use all of the time to improve and to cooperate with their classmates.
Mm-hmm. Barbara has her hands up, so maybe.
Yes, Jose, thank you very much for your presentation. It was very interesting. My question is, what was the reception of the others from your center? Like, were they eager to know what you're doing in the classroom because you've had great results? So, like, did they feel motivated to try it or something like that?
What do you mean, my colleague and the rest of the team?
Yes, like your colleagues and also like the leadership in your school. Like, what did they, what did they say? Something like that.
It's a good question, because I work in a public school, so some teacher support that method, but other one they refuse. They don't really like at all. So at the beginning, if obviously both studies was carried out once in my school, and the other one was in a college. So I colleague Irene give me their classroom, so there was no problem. But it's true that in the public school here in Spain, as you because cooperative learning is a reality, but we don't have material. Okay, so I know how to create that material. I know how to adapt the classroom to perform that particular techniques with the student. But if someone comes to me and say, Jose, can you help me? Can you give me a material? Say, here you have. But once they are alone, they don't like to work, or they prefer not doing so with the cooperative learning. So they refuse, they don't like. So because it's not difficult once you understand and once you know how to do, or the things that you can do and the things that you cannot do. But the colleague, the teacher, they don't prefer to use that. And it's true that every time that I carry out or I try to do any cooperative techniques, the noise in the classroom is high. It's sometimes some colleagues come say, "Hey, you are too noisy, please." I say, "Well, I prefer teaching English in that manner than, for example, the music teacher when try to make 25 different kids playing the flute, and no one know how to play the flute." But it's difficult to implement or to make our teachers or my partner to make work in that manner.
Okay, thank you. We also have another question in the chat that is, have you used or considered using dialogic teaching as part of cooperative learning to facilitate the use of the target language in the classroom? If so, did this produce any noticeable difference in the students' use of English?
No, I never think about it. So I note down. Probably it's gonna be a useful resource to work in my classroom. Thank you.
And do you think technology is the common source to get attention of all the students while teaching English?
Technology, sure, but I think not all English. When you get into the classroom with the computer, it's in a moment all the student catch their attention because they love computer. But it's true that they don't know how to work with the computer. So not with my thesis work, but I used to, or I try to, in some specific lesson to use computer platform like Kahoot, Canva, and they love to create some infographic presentation, all those stuff. They really love it. So it's like a reward when after a few lessons when they do or they work properly. I used to introduce the computer or technology in my classroom to make them work better.
And does it make a difference? Bahar means, do the teachers have to spend extra time or effort to provide teaching materials for such classes? She means, is that why other teachers avoid cooperative learning activities? I mean, do they avoid it because of the materials?
I don't know. The fact is that here in Spain we are too focused or too depending on the textbooks. So, and the textbooks they don't because they are a good resource. I use the textbooks in my teaching practice, but the problem is that it's a book for the whole country. So there is 5 books, 5 publishers. It's very difficult to find a book which specifically works for your group of students. So, and they cannot create a specific book for each school or each classroom. So the material are very general. So it's very difficult to find a specific cooperative material create for your classroom because you've got a deaf student, a blind student, I don't know, there's many different students. So you have to create your own material to work with your specific classroom. As you, most of the teachers, they don't have access to this pre-create material to just print the copy and give it to the student. And I think that they don't feel like doing that in their classroom. I think that's my opinion. Because once you got the material, it doesn't matter. You can carry out a reading comprehension in a traditional way, or you can try to carry out a reading comprehension with a cooperative learning techniques. So, but you need to have the text split into the specific part.
Okay, and the last question so that we can move to the following speaker is thank you, Jose Angel, for your presentation. It's Diana who says this. It's a very interesting research. And she asks, what do you think is more decisive in cooperative learning, technology or empathy from other students or teachers? Technology or empathy?
Empathy, because obviously not all the students are equal and not all have the same needs. So they must show empathy because depend on the classroom or depend on the topic of the content, probably one will be better than the other. So they must be respectful with the rest of the classmate. It's not with the rest of the classmate, it's with the rest of the team's member to make all them work together, because if the team don't work together, they won't get the target. Okay, so empathy is probably more important than technology dealing with the cooperative learning.
Okay, so thank you very much, Jose, for your very interesting presentation. So as Cristina has said, maybe we can now move on to the following one so that we can stick to, the timing. But maybe, I mean, if anybody has any additional questions, you can just post them in the chat, and then maybe at the end we can have another question and answer session, or maybe we can share the questions with the speakers, okay? So the following speaker is going to be Barbara Husarova, also a PhD student and researcher from the University of Córdoba. So Barbara, you can try now sharing your presentation, and if not, I can, you can, yeah,
Okay.
and if not, I can do it for you. So just let me know.
Okay, thank you very much. Hello again. I think I'll be able to share it from my computer. Just let me know. I think you should be able to see it now. Is that right?
Yeah, now we can. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So thank you very much for inviting me. I have been watching the webinars since the very beginning, so I'm very happy that I can appear on the screen today. I work very closely with Cristina and Fran. They're also my PhD supervisors. And today I'll tell you a little bit about my PhD thesis, which is titled Learning Languages Beyond the Classroom, Uses, Strategies, and Practices Mediated by Technology. Let me see if this moves. It's kind of stuck. Okay, so I'll walk you through the presentation. So first, I'll tell you about some background for my thesis. I'll tell you something about the project Pluridentities that I work in as a research technician. And I work with Cristina and Fran in this project as well. I'll address the research gap and the objectives of my thesis, the methodology that I'll employ in my project, and also I'll talk about the expected contributions. So like I said, my thesis is somehow connected to Project Pluridentities. So I'll tell you a little bit about the project. Europe Horizon Project Pluridentities is based on the following framework. It explores coherence among 4 components, as you can see over here. So learning environment, language policy, linguistic capital, and technology. So according to this framework, or what we want to get to, the learning environment has to be inclusive, embrace learners' home languages and multilingual identities, incorporating them into the classroom pedagogy. And students' linguistic capital is considered as a valuable resource, and it should be integrated in the curriculum as it enhances students' sense of belonging and inclusion. And when it comes to language policy, the idea is that governments must anchor multilingualism in the legislation and protect pupils' rights to maintain and develop all their languages. And technology is where we come in, Fran, Cristina, and I, because we explore this very closely in our work package, we can say. So the role of technology is to mediate language use and learning. And technology can reinforce dominant linguistic norms, but it can also serve as a powerful tool to maintain heritage languages and access diverse linguistic content. Let me see. So in this project, in Project Pluridentities, we collaborate with 5 other universities. So we've got University of Aruba in the Caribbean, University of Amsterdam in the Netherlands, KU Leuven and VUB in Belgium. This is us, University of Córdoba. And then we've got the University of Gothenburg in Sweden. So like I said, Project Pluridentities is looking at language learning both inside and outside the classroom, whereas my doctoral thesis focuses specifically on the outside of the classroom aspect, so learning beyond the classroom. So that will lead me to talk about the research gap that I found, or that we together identified. Give me a second. Because despite the growing relevance of digitally mediated practices, research examining language learning beyond the classroom remains relatively limited, leaving a gap in empirical understanding of how informal digital engagement supports our or constrains multilingual development. So addressing this gap is essential. And in this context, technology-mediated language learning beyond the classroom remains an underexplored territory. And the aim of my doctoral thesis is to address the gap in the empirical understanding of the field and investigate the uses, strategies, and practices of European youth. So in this sense, it is necessary to see if the use of different digital tools outside the classroom if the use promotes or hinders multilingualism, and simultaneously to identify the challenges and limitations of these tools in order to bridge formal, non-formal, and informal language learning. So my objectives are closely linked to multilingualism and motivation. So the first main objective is to explore informal linguistic uses and practices mediated by technology of European youth. So I want to examine how European youth engage with audiovisual content, for example, audiovisual content platforms specifically, and social media. So for example, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, and see how they can be a resource to foster multilingualism. The second objective is to analyze the contribution of audiovisual streaming services, so Netflix, Spotify, and some other ones, and see how they can develop and maintain multilingual practices among European youth. And I also want to look at the potential of AI-based tools such as ChatGPT, DeepSeek, Gemini, and so on and so forth, and see how they support multilingual language use and learning among European youth. And also I'd like to look at the significance of English within technology-mediated informal language practices and everyday linguistic uses of European youth. Again, I want to do this in relation to motivation as well. So see how the use of audio content creation platforms motivate students to learn languages outside the classroom. The same with, again, platforms like Netflix and other streaming services and AI tools as well. And one last objective is to look at learning apps. So to examine the extent to which European youth use language learning platforms such as Duolingo or Babel to enhance their linguistic competence. So I want to analyze the learning strategies adopted by European youth when engaging with these language platforms, and also to identify the main challenges and perceived limitations encountered by European youth in the use of language learning platforms. Okay, so let's talk about the methodology for the project. So to meet the objectives outlined in the previous section, my doctoral thesis will employ a mixed methods approach that combines both quantitative and qualitative data analysis. So for qualitative data analysis, semi-structured interviews and focus group discussions will be used. These will allow for deep participant insights and cross-referencing of data across different settings. And after the administration of interviews and focus group discussions, the resulting data will be coded using thematic analysis, which is expected to yield meaningful insights. This method will also allow the study to identify themes from existing literature, use both common and new themes to validate findings, connect with prior empirical research, and offer fresh perspectives and future directions. The questionnaires will be validated through the Delphi method and will be administered, followed by calculations of this descriptive statistics, and the data will then be analyzed using the SPSS software. So what could be hopefully the contributions of my thesis? A couple of them. So the findings are expected to contribute to the pedagogical innovations in the field and secure inclusive, equitable, and safe use of technology. From pedagogical standpoint, hopefully the results will encourage educators to reevaluate the current curricula and update their classroom practices so that they can include activities and tasks that take into consideration the motivation of youth to use digital tools for language learning and integrate different types of media, such as streaming services or social networks, AI tools, and learning apps. And in this way, bridge informal and formal language learning, maybe to create intra-formal language learning experiences where learners use what they had learned beyond the classroom, and they apply it and reflect on it during their conventional classroom time. And from multilingualism and inclusion standpoint, educators will hopefully lobby for curricula that promote language awareness that goes beyond English and Eurocentric languages and cultural values. And when English is used, it will be employed as a vehicle of inclusion. When designing technology-mediated language activities, it may contribute to teachers seeing the potential of digital tools for multilingualism, while remaining alert and cautious of the biases and digital tools that they made, the biases that digital tools may perpetuate. So this is it in a nutshell. And these are my references. And thank you very much for listening. And if you have any questions or comments, I am here to answer them.
Okay, thank you, Barbara. Let's see if people have some questions or comments also to your presentation. Okay, we have some thank yous. So let's see if somebody has some questions or comments, because the chat is open, but of course, as always, you can put your hands up and we will give you permissions to speak using your mic. Well done, Barbara. Good luck with your project. Okay, this is the first comment. And then the second question is, what's SPSS system for data analysis? Well, it's a software, actually.
Okay, so it is a software that you can use to do a statistical analysis. I am still in training, so don't ask me any specific questions. But it allows, to use variables such as like age, gender, and do wonders with it. So yeah.
Yeah, just to add a little bit on that, it's basically, as Barbara said, it's a software that we normally use in the social sciences field to analyze quantitative data. But of course, I mean, this is one of the most used ones in the world, we could say. But of course, we also have other options, such as, for example, I don't know, R or JASP. So there's no, I mean, different options from where you can choose.
Okay, let's see if we have more questions. It seems that everything was really clear, Barbara.
Okay, well, I hope I didn't speak too fast. I don't know. But yeah, thank you very much for listening, and I hope that
I don't, yeah. Here we have a question, but I don't really understand it. So what can we do with certificates if we take it, or can we get a job with the certificate? I don't know what certificate do you refer to. If it's related to the webinars, maybe you can include them in your CV, in your resumes, but I don't know. Jihad has a question. It's well, thank you. Turning projects into academic work, especially in PhD, is really important. But sometimes there are drawbacks to manage both because they might not match. An evaluation of a project may not be a name to do the research. Did you have difficulties while deciding the topic? How did you develop it?
So, my background is in TEFL, so teaching English as a foreign language, which is non-formal environment. So I had been exposed to language learning outside the public schooling, so outside the conventional classroom. So I kind of came in with that, and also I had always been interested in digital tools such as social media, TikTok, things like that. So when I started the project with Cristina and Fran, they helped me develop the topic. They were immensely helpful, and I think if I didn't have the support, I wouldn't be able to formalize it because they see it in a very because they can see it in a very practical way. At the start, I remember Cristina said to me to like come back from the clouds back to the ground because my objectives were unrealistic. But I think that's normal when you start, because you don't really have the practical knowledge. So that's why supervisors, like good supervisors, are very important.
Well, thank you. And also, another reason behind that is within the framework of the Plural Identities project, it's true that we also considered some aspects related to informal and non-formal learning of languages. So, the connection was clear here. So, yeah, it's the idea to take advantage of what we are doing, actually.
Yeah, that's very true as well.
Sarah has another question or comment. Let's see. A really interesting piece of research, Barbara. I look forward to seeing the results. Have you already started to get a sense of how using technology from beyond the classroom can benefit language learning?
So
I meant in the classroom, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, we have done some qualitative, we have done some focus groups already and some quantitative data. So I can see the results from the Plural Identities project, and I will use some of the data from there. But in terms of like my contributions, not yet, because I have only just handed in the proposal. So hopefully, and later I will contribute to this as well. But yeah, we have seen some results, and the other end of the question: have you started how using Chromecast can benefit language learning. I think so. Maybe something very interesting that loads of students use AI to prepare for language exams, which I found very interesting. Just something that I've just thought of, things like that.
Oh, I was reading, but sorry, I was muted. I was saying I was reading. So it was, thank you, Barbara, very challenging research. How do you think current increase in multilingualism among young European population influences the quality of English they are actually talking, learning?
So this is another interesting topic that will be included in my project. Kind of like the quality of English. Like, do we want English to be a vehicle to reach, inclusion and equity, or is it something that is used for gatekeeping? So I would like to explore that as well, and obviously strive for English to be a positive thing, not something that isolates you, but something that includes you. So I don't know if that kind of answers the question.
Yeah, and also the term nowadays of world Englishes. What is quality English? What is the correct English?
Yeah, definitely.
Another question is, I changed my education system many times. First, I studied in Arabic, then in Turkish, and later in English. Because of the war, I had to move to different countries and change schools several times. As a result, I couldn't fully master one language in an academic way. I sometimes struggle with Arabic, Turkish, and English. However, I'm doing my best to improve my language skills and become more confident in all three languages.
That's amazing. I congratulate you because obviously your life circumstances have been so difficult. So congratulations, and I hope that you'll reach your language goals, and I hope that your situation will improve as well.
Yeah, this is another reality that we experience it in times of COVID with all this idea of emergency remote teaching, emergency remote language teaching and learning. But also, the situation of because of wars, because of conflicts, because of natural disasters, is also shaping the way people learn languages, and it's another interesting topic, interesting area to reflect, and maybe for other projects in the future, who knows? So I don't know if we have any other question, or if not, we can move to the following presenter. Yeah. Okay, so thank you, Barbara.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, so thank you also, Barbara, for your wonderful presentation. Now it's turn for our third speaker, Marta from the University of Córdoba. So Marta, I think you're already there. And yeah, we can see your presentation. Okay, so whenever you want, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay. So good afternoon with everybody. First of all, it's pleasure and honor to be here today. I would like sincerely thanks to LiTE Academy because for this value opportunity for beginners students who are in the doctoral program. So my name is Marta Carrillo, and I start my doctoral degree program 4 months ago. So that is why today I'm gonna present about my proposal, my thesis proposal that has been accepted by my thesis tutor. So in this case is about evaluating generative artificial intelligence tools for virtual English language teaching in higher education. This is related to the digital pedagogies. And with respect to the context and problem that I find in this part of my research, we know that English is essential in the most important skills in higher education, specifically in the students' professional development. At the same time, so virtual English learning continue to expand worldwide. So, however, despite of these technological advances, many of the online English courses still face a lot of challenges in the teaching English. So one of those challenges correspond to the lack of the interaction of the different tools, personalization, and the immediately feedback and learners' engagement. All of those aspects can affect students' learning process, students' experience, and also the part of the academic process as well. So for this reason, in my research, have appeared an important question. So that is why in this case, I'm gonna explore about how generative AI tools can support English language teaching. And we know that a generative AI tool has rapidly evolved in the area of education, right? So so that is why many research mention that these tools can generate personalized learning materials. It can offer immediately feedback. It can support autonomous learning and improve student engagement. So based on those literature review, and also based on my experience as a teacher using different kind of tools, AI tools, for my research, I have decided to work it with four AI tools, as a number one, do we have it the natural reader, because it transforms the writing text for writing text into the natural speech, natural sound speech, in order to improve students' listening skills. Number two, 11 Labs, which generates the realistic voice and a simulation of the conversation in order to help the students for their speaking skills. After that, do we have it Gemini? Gemini is going to be used Gemini generates, revise, and improve the part of the writing skills. And finally, so I'm gonna work at it with Notebook LM, because these tools interact or allow that the students interact with the part of the text, summaries, and explanation in order to improve the part of the reading skills or reading comprehension. And of course, there are a lot of nowadays there are a lot of literature review where the authors mention that AI tools support in the students' learning process. One of those supports correspond to the writing development, reading comprehension, vocabulary acquisition, and learner autonomy. Despite of those positive points, there are a lot of limitations, because most of the studies focus just on the use of ChatGPT. Right, and also other researchers also mentioned that studies just analyze it just one skills. And so that is why, based on those limitations, so although generative AI is increasingly used in education, so it's limited evidence. So that is why, in order to fulfill my research gap, so we are going to apply about their implementation in virtual context, in the impact of the different AI tools on a specific language skills, students' perception towards AI tools supported in language learning. As I mentioned before, in order to fill this research gap, my investigation, my research is going to follow a systematic evaluation of multiple general AI tools associated with different English language skills. For my research, the general objective that I expected to fulfill at the end is to evaluate the impact of the generative AI tools on English language teaching in higher education. And also, as I mentioned before, I'm gonna work it with four specific objectives, where I'm gonna use the 4 specific tools: natural reader for listening skills, 11 labs for speaking, Gemini for writing, and Notebook LM for reading skills. And finally, after to implement each of these instrument, additionally, I'm gonna analyze the part of the students' perception towards generative AI tools. With respect to the part of the research design, the methodology that I'm gonna apply is quantitative approach mixed with a quasi-experimental design, where I'm gonna have first of all the part of the pretest, and after that I'm gonna continue with the part of the intervention, and finally the part of the post-test, where it's going to be implement all of those instruments or this methodology. So I'm gonna work it in I'm gonna implement in one of the university in Ecuador called Technical State University of Quevedo, where my sample is going to be students who have or who are in the A level of English in the English Center. The structure for my research that I expect to fulfill is the 4 independent study, which is gonna be the 4 tools is going to be applied in the different semester. No, so in different semester in the 4 period. And what I expect to contribute once I finish my thesis research is I expect to have three contribution. In this case, the first one is to provide the new evidence on the generative AI in English foreign language education. Number 2 is educationally, because I expect to improve the English language skills, increasing students' engagement as well. And finally, so I expect to proposing a framework for integrating AI tools for virtual English learning environments. So that's all that I have that I would like to share about my thesis proposal that I have it. Yeah, so I don't know thank you so much. So I don't know if you have any recommendation for me or any comments. So I'm free for listening, because in the future I don't like to feel frustrated or something like that during my process.
Thank you very much, Martha, for your presentation. I think that is quite a relevant topic nowadays, and of course, related to the LiTE Academy with this strong component of AI. So let's see if we have some comments or questions or suggestions for you. We have some thank yous for the presentation. So let's see. They say super interesting proposal. I would just like to know how many years you have in teaching. What is your teaching experience?
I just have been working as a teacher just 3 years as a teacher. 3
Thank you.
years of experience.
That's great. So, okay, Diana says, thank you, Marta. Very useful and practical research. I personally think that while the use of AI tools may help enhance oral comprehensive and production skills, they may also damage students' writing skills and grammar skills because they rely on automatic correction. How do you think we might find the balance in this regard?
Oh, sorry, I don't listen. I was reading another question.
Well, but so the question, well, the question before the question by Diana is, thank you, Marta, a very useful and practical research. I personally think that while the use of AI tools may help enhance oral comprehensive and production skills, they may also damage students' writing skills and grammar skills because they rely on automatic correction. How do you think we might find the balance in this regard?
I think in this part, you can maybe to propose that the students defend their activity or something orally. So it could be, I don't know, they can defend something like that orally. So I think the solution is that the students present their activities orally. I don't know, after to use, and of course, the different AI tools.
Okay. And Bahar asks, thank you very much for your presentation. As I worked with different AI tools during my PhD, one challenging issue was the constant updates and changes of the tools. How would you manage it during fall semesters?
No, I am not going to apply during 4th semester. So I mean that I'm gonna apply one tools in each semester. I don't know what I mean. So I'm gonna apply, for example, the natural reader, I'm gonna apply it in the 1st semester, and after that, I'm gonna continue with another instrument. I am not going to apply all of those just during the 4th semester.
Okay, thank you. Very interesting proposal. And another comment. I think people can also benefit from Flicky.ai for making AI-supported videos while teaching, because we really benefited from it while producing our own ELT books for our primary and kindergarten sections. Have you used Flicky?
No,
Okay.
I haven't.
So maybe this could be another
Yeah.
option.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Everyone's presentations were well organized, informative, and engaging. I learned a lot from the diverse ideas and valuable insights shared by the presenters. Okay. Suleiman says, I strongly advise the use of Flicky.
Oh yeah, so I'm gonna check. Thank you. Thank you. I'm gonna
Yes.
check it, and I'm gonna to try to focus for an specific skills. Thank you for your suggestion.
I've also played sometimes with Flicky, and it's nice. You know, it gives you,
yeah, I'm gonna check it out. That
nice videos. Okay. Any other question? Very interesting. Thanks. Okay. Any other comment or question for Marta?
Don't specific questions because I'm still trying in this case. I just started 3-4 months ago. No more, no more time.
Yeah, it's normal. It's normal.
A lot of training.
But it's nice to have this forum that is relaxed, that is not like a super big conference. So it's something more relaxed to share ideas. You know. Okay.
Thank you.
So I think that as we've been almost an hour and a half with the 3 presentations, we can have a short break of about 10 minutes, more or less. And then after the break, we continue with the other 2 presentations. So we can, you know, stretch our legs a little bit. Okay. And we'll be back in 10 minutes. Okay. And then we'll resume the presentations. Okay, thank you very much, Marta.
Thank you.
Okay, so see you in 10 minutes. Okay, or well, 15 minutes. Frank was more generous. Okay, so we'll be back at 10 past. Okay.
Okay, so we're back from the break. So let's continue because we still have 2 more presentations. Okay, so the next one is going to be Rosalia from the University of Córdoba. So Rosalia, if you're ready, you can start sharing your presentation.
Yes. One moment. Okay, one moment.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
Perfect.
So the floor is yours. Yeah.
Okay. So first, thank you to LiTE Academy for the opportunity. Good afternoon, everyone. My thesis explores how generative artificial intelligence or Gen AI can be used to translate tourism text. However, in this presentation, I will review the current use of AI in translation and education in line with the topics of LiTE Academy. I will also discuss the main challenges in both files and present some possible solutions based on this research. First, the growing amount of text produced every day and the increasing need for fast translation have encouraged the use of AI and Gen AI. Today, these tools are widely available, and the recent democratization of the technologies have prompted companies and individuals to translate text in just a few seconds. This has created 2 main opinions. Some people believe that these technologies still don't produce high quality translation because current AI models are not trained enough to fully capture the meaning of the original text. Others believe that AI can produce much better results if it is trained with high quality translation databases, include different text types, time periods, cultural context. This study shows that using AI at every stage of the human translation process offer higher quality results compared to zero-shot approaches. That is using like a basic prompt, such as translate without any context or examples. However, there is a broad agreement that AI should not replace human translator or humans in general. Instead, it should be used as a tool that support our work and help us stay competitive. We identified 3 main challenges when using AI in translation. First, inclusivity. AI can produce translation that contain stereotypes or bias. This is not because of the technology itself, but because it learns from data created by people, which may already include these biases. Inclusion in the age of AI means creating systems that represent diverse experiences, support equal access, and empower people to think critically. Second, ethical issues. These include a lack of transparency, difficulty knowing where the answers come from, possible lack of neutrality, and concerns about data privacy. As linguists and teachers too, we can reduce this risk by checking AI outputs carefully, correcting mistakes, and never including personal or sensitive information in our prompts. Third, multilingualism and cultural mediation. AI often produces standardized outputs that ignore cultural differences and local contexts. In tourism translation, this can lead to cultural homogenization and overlay English-centered perspective, reducing the richness and identity of the original text. Turning now to education, AI has become part of student everyday lives, and technology plays an important role in both learning and future careers. Because companies are increasingly adopting these tools, students need to learn how to use them effectively. Also, many students already use AI. They also need guidance on what is acceptable and what is not. They should learn to use AI responsibly, declare when they have used it, and develop basic prompt engineering skills. AI should also be introduced in a fair and thoughtful way so that it does not increase existing inequalities. There are 3 key pillars for using AI in education. Sorry, I forgot the title in English. The first is critical thinking. A student needs to evaluate the reliability of sources and decide whether AI-generated information is accurate and useful. This information should not be used to write a paper from scratch, but rather as a support to help them develop their own ideas, structured thinking, and only in exceptional situations. The second is ethical use. Students should understand the ethical challenges linked to AI and learn how to use these tools responsibly. And third is technical competence. A student should understand how AI models work so they can write better prompts and adapt them to different translation tags or tags in general. Many researchers and professionals agree that translation courses should reflect the technological needs of the industry and prepare students for using AI in their future career responsibly. There is also growing support for including AI training in professional development. However, they are risks. Some of these risks overlap overlap with the challenges already mentioned in the translation sector, but a student may become too dependent on AI, weakening their analytical skills or repeating existing biases. For this reason, universities or schools need clear ethical guidelines and should require students to explain when, how, and why they use AI. The teachers also need training so they can confidently use these technologies and ensure that all students have equal access to them. And to conclude, I would like to leave you with three main ideas. First, that AI is here to stay. We should see it as a partner that helps us work more efficiently, but never as a replacement for human judgment. And second, ethical training and critical thinking are essential for identifying bias and checking AI-generated content. And finally, AI can make mistakes. Keeping humans involved in the process ensures that we stay in control and remain responsible for the final result, regardless of the technology we use. And thank you for your attention. Here are some references.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Rosalia, for your presentation and also for your work on AI in the field of translation. So let's see if we have some questions or comments. Personally, I would like to know a little bit more about your approach to the part of ethical training, because you you said that at the end, and I think that it's quite complex issue. So could you tell us a little bit more about your ideas?
Yes, because we want to explore how performs the AI models if we train with proper databases with a high quality translation. Because with zero shot approaches, like if you giving a prompt to the AI translate, you won't get an output a high quality output. So it's the main approach.
So you are thinking about training ethically translators or general users?
No, large language models because we want to see if the large language model can give outputs that respond to translators' necessities.
Okay, thank you. So let's see if we have some more comments or questions. Okay, Cristina Villegas asks, how would you avoid bias?
It's difficult because AI use data from people and the internet in general, and it's difficult to avoid bias, but we want to create like a corpus of text with human translations and see if the large language model can learn of this type of corpus to give a proper outputs.
Okay, thank you, Rosalia.
Thank you.
So let's see. If we have more comments or questions. Okay, so Diana says, thank you, Rosalia, for your contribution. Training an LLM needs time, more time if you want to do it correctly without bias. So what is your solution in the meantime, for the meantime?
I think that as linguists and as teachers, we have to correcting all the mistakes that AI can perform, like human supervision. I think that it's the most the best solution in this case.
Okay, and Sarah says, from my experience working with the students at university, ethical training for both lecturers and students is essential. I find there is a lot of misuse and ethical use of AI by the students I teach. I think this is a really crucial aspect that requires research like this.
Because I think that we should say students what is acceptable, what is not, and it's the main. It's essential.
Okay, so maybe one last question or comment. Yeah, Diana says, I agree. Human supervision will continue to be essential. Yours is a very interesting research. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay. When did you start your PhD program?
4 months ago, like
Okay.
Marta.
Okay. So you're, in the beginning of the process.
Yes.
Good. So hopefully you will find a way to avoid these biases and to
Yes, I hope
have
so.
very nice results. Okay, so thank you very much, Rosalia. And I think that maybe now we can move.
Yeah. So, Rosalia, thank you also for your wonderful presentation. Very interesting, relevant, and timely nowadays. So let's move to the final presentation. Who's going to be? It's going to be by Fulia, also PhD student from the University of Córdoba. So, Fulia, whenever you want to share your screen, we'll be ready. Yeah.
Hello from. Okay, I'll try sharing.
Okay.
Can everyone see it?
Yes, we can. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Fulya Çatakkayalar, and I'm from Turkey. And I did my master's via Erasmus Mundus joint project called PITAL at the University of Córdoba. I worked with Cristina then also. And for my PhD, Cristina and Fran are supervising my work. And I'm also a new PhD student. In the doctoral program in languages and cultures at the University of Córdoba. Today, I would like to present my proposed doctoral research, Generative AI in EFL Writing, a cross-cultural study in Turkey and Spain. For presentation purposes, I'm using a shortened version of the title. The full title of the study is The Impact of Generative AI Tools on EFL Writing Development, a Cross-Cultural Investigation of Writing Performance, Student and Teacher Perceptions, Academic Integrity and Ethical Dimensions in Higher Education in Turkey and Spain. In this presentation, we'll have 7 main sections. First, I'll explain the background and rationale of this study. Then I'll discuss the concept of digital pedagogies and the current debate surrounding AI in education, which we were talking about actually in the chat before. After that, I'll present the research objectives, the multilingual and inclusive inclusive dimensions of the study, the relevant literature, the methodology, and finally the expected contributions of my research. And yes, why this research? In recent years, generative AI tools such as ChatGPT, Gemini, DeepSeek, and there are more, have become increasingly accessible to students around the world. Many EFL learners are already using these tools to support different stages of their academic writing. It includes brainstorming, text organization, language accuracy, and editing mostly. However, despite the growing popularity of these technologies, there are still important gaps in the literature. Most of the existing studies focus almost exclusively on ChatGPT, which is the most worldwide known, while other AI tools remain underexplored. In addition, there is a very limited research comparing how AI is used and perceived across different educational and cultural contexts. If you have checked it before, maybe like you can find from China, Vietnam, Hong Kong mostly. And okay, yes. And when we come to the digital part of this program and like this research, there is a discussion around AI in education, which focuses on concerns about cheating and academic misconduct. While these concerns are important, many scholars argue that AI should also be viewed as a pedagogical tool rather than only a threat. Therefore, instead of asking whether AI should be used or not in our classrooms or in like our teaching practices, educators increasingly ask how it can be integrated responsibly and effectively. This shift raises several important questions. First question is, how does AI influence students' writing development? And second one, how can educators integrate AI responsibly in their own teaching practices? And lastly, what new pedagogical approaches, teaching practices may be required if we are going to use AI in our teaching experiences? Actually, these questions form an important theoretical foundation for my research. And when we come to my research objectives and hypotheses, the general objective of the study is to analyze the impact of generative AI tools on EFL academic writing in higher education in Turkey and Spain. Based on the existing literature, I propose three main hypotheses. First, the use of generative AI tools will improve students' writing performance. Second, students and teachers will generally perceive these tools positively, especially students. Third, despite these benefits, participants will express concerns related to academic integrity and ethical use. And when we come to the multilingualism and inclusion, this research also aligns with two important themes of LiTE Academy, which I said like multilingualism and inclusion. Okay. EFL learners often operate across multiple languages. For example, Turkish students may move between Turkish and English, while Spanish students may move between Spanish and English during the writing process. And AI tools may influence these cross-linguistic strategies, but this area remains underexplored. From an inclusion perspective, AI may provide additional support for learners with lower levels of language proficiency, and also these tools can increase access to writing assistance and potentially reduce language-related barriers in higher education, because sometimes educators only, like teachers only, cannot support all the students at the same time. And what does previous research tell us? The existing literature highlights both benefits and risks associated with generative AI. Reported benefits include improved idea generation, better text organization, enhanced grammatical accuracy, and generally positive perceptions among students and teachers. At the same time, researchers have identified several risks, several concerns, including plagiarism and misuse, over-reliance on AI, reduced critical thinking, and data privacy concerns. And one recurring finding across many studies is that there is an absence of clear institutional guidelines regarding AI use in education, because not like all of us, not all the teachers, not all the like school principals, like school administration, cannot know how to use AI in like for EFL purposes or for teaching purposes. This suggests a need for more evidence-based research that can support policy development and pedagogical decision-making. And when we come to the methodology of this research, it adopts a sequential mixed methods design. The quantitative phase will include a writing performance experiment, surveys on perceptions and ethical concerns, and statistical analysis using softwares such as SPSS or JASP. For the qualitative phase, it will consist of semi-structured interviews with selected participants, maybe not all, followed by thematic analysis using Atlas-T. And the participants will include EFL students and teachers from higher education institutions in both Turkey and Spain. And maybe for the Turkish part, there can be like preparatory class students also. And lastly, the experimental component of the study will compare two groups. The experimental group will complete writing tasks with AI support, while the control group will complete similar tasks without AI support. The written text will be evaluated according to 4 criteria: content, organization, grammar, and vocabulary. Maybe we can like reshape it during the research period. And the study is expected to contribute to the field in 3 main ways. First, it will provide evidence-based insights for EFL pedagogy. Second, it will contribute to the development of ethical guidelines for AI integration in education. And finally, it will offer valuable cross-cultural insights by comparing higher education contexts in Turkey and Spain. And here you can see some of my references, but I am in the like systematic literature review phase at the moment. And thank you all for your attention. I hope this presentation has provided an overview of my proposed research.
Thank you very much, Fulia.
Welcome.
Here we have a question that is, there are so many questions for this KI time we are living. My last question is, which institution is in Europe is responsible for the increasing use of KI? I understand that is AI in the schools. I don't think that there's not, I mean, an institution responsible for that. These are companies. So we have a hand up, so I'm going to allow them speak. So is Dakhil Sairo Ali? There's a hand up, so maybe can you share with your mic? Let's see if they can participate.
Hello.
Hello.
I have a question. My sounds clear now?
Yes, more or less.
I'm a foreign, but I study now in Turkey. I changed as soon I asked my question in another chat. I changed my school like in Arabic to English to Turkish, then English, and all time I see myself take a lot of difficulty about language because I didn't catch a strong language in my education, and all time I feel I'm not like the same level with my friends, and a more difficulty for me? What can I do for this? How can I take a professional language?
I'm not sure I'm the right person to answer this because your situation is a bit specific, I think.
Yeah.
But for any kind of, I think, language support or any phase, you can get some help from ChatGPT or any other AI tools. But also you can maybe consult your professors or teachers. Maybe they can show you some other ways also.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I know that nowadays many people are using ChatGPT as fully asset as a kind of language tutor, and they can also even speak to ChatGPT. So maybe this could be an option. Why not?
And which apps did you prefer for podcast listening?
Well, there are many generic apps for podcasts, as I don't know, like iVoox or even Spotify. But if you want something related to English, I personally like using the BBC resources because, for example, there is a section on the BBC website that is called 6 Minutes English.
Yes.
That gives you like the audio, the transcript, and it's very nice because it's about many different topics. So
yeah,
you can find something interesting for you there. I've used it with my students, and it's very nice because there are like different levels. So depending on your proficiency.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, and thank you for participating with the microphone.
You're welcome.
So we have some more questions and comments in the chat. For instance, Sarah says, a really interesting and important piece of research. Could I just ask how you will select your participants for the experimental and control groups?
It's a good question, actually, because I'm so new at this stage. I haven't decided, but probably we can have one classroom of, it can be probably junior students. So they will also be new. And for Turkey scenario, actually, I've thought of preparatory class because they need to, for example, in my university, at Boğaziçi University, we needed to pass an exam. If not, we had to study for 1 year for preparatory before starting our studies. Maybe they are a good participant model for us because they'll only be trying to learn English at that period, learn how to write in English academically and speaking also, and they need to pass an exam. Probably they'll care more about the AI support.
Okay, thank you. Well, regarding the previous question, Bahar says, as a suggestion, try to focus on one language which is currently urgent for you, for your studies or daily communication. Be focused and consistent and try to listen and do the shadowing technique. Okay. And also Bahar says that watching and listening alone to sources is not enough. Of course it's not, but it can also be an interesting, resource to complement this part of speaking and writing. And Diana says in the chat, thank you, Fulia. Teaching EFL in the AI technology is in itself a challenge. I am particularly critical with using AI tools in the development of writing and grammar skills. Where do you think should be the barrier be drawn between enhanced grammatical accuracy and actually learning to write. I have this somewhat old-fashioned idea that you learn to write by actually actively writing, and that you learn grammar by actually making grammar mistakes. Letting the AI tool do this may hinder the learning process. I find it very difficult to find a balance there. What do you think? Wow.
It's a very tough question, but I kind of agree with you, Diana, because like I also still do like this pen to write some ideas, not only like using not typing only, but like even if we do not allow students, because like when I was teaching, I don't have much experience in teaching, but when I was teaching, students are like exclusively use AI. Even if you don't ask them, even if you don't let them do, they use it. Like it's now, it's, I don't think that it's possible not to let them anymore, because they all have the access in most of the cases. That's why like maybe we should we can say that like AI is they are allowed to use AI, but they don't need to focus more on their outcomes only. The process, like how they ask AI to do something, how they like, in what ways they ask for AI support. Maybe these can be good guideline for us. And also, I was going to say one more thing. I also like agree that like we need to make some mistakes, but also maybe the repetition of the correct sentences, the repetition of the same structures, like maybe like reading a text. This is also helpful to learn. That's why like maybe AI can support in this way, but during the research period, probably I'll learn more, and like maybe we'll come up with new ideas, like options. For now, that's my answer.
Okay, thank you. As I said, in these times of AI technology, teach languages is truly a challenge. I like your ideas. Thank you. Okay, so maybe some more questions that we may have or comments. No? Okay, so as this was a colloquium based on the participation of different speakers, in this case junior researchers and PhD candidates, we had the time slot of 4:30 to 8, but it is not a problem to finish a little bit earlier. So maybe we can wrap up the session, maybe with some final remarks and comments. So maybe Fran, if you want to, share the reminder.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Cristina, and also thank you to all the speakers and also those of you who have been asking questions either through the chat or speaking using your microphones. I mean, I think it has been a very interesting colloquium, not only because you have been, able to share what you are doing. I mean, Cristina and I know some of you, and we know what some of you are doing. But I mean, not all of the speakers we knew about your PhD thesis. So I think this has been a really interesting opportunity to know what is being currently done in connection to language education, multilingualism, inclusion, and also technology. A lot of information about AI and also very relevant topics. And also we would like to thank you for trying to somehow connect your thesis to the main topics of the LiTE Academy, because I think we've been able to get some ideas that we can later apply to the development of the modules that we have been presenting in the previous webinars. So very sure we will be able to improve them thanks to your contributions. So to wrap up, I would like to again remind you of these, let's say, requirement for those of you who want to get the specific certificate of this webinar series as a training seminar for your PhD or doctoral program. Okay, so as I've said at the beginning, apart from your attendance and participation, we also need you to submit, to write a short report summarizing the main ideas of all the webinars, except for this one, because this one has been a little bit more, let's say, participatory. So you don't really need to reflect on this one, unless you want, obviously. Okay, but the required part is that you summarize the main ideas of all the webinars, the four previous webinars that we've had, and also the two remaining webinars that I will mention in a minute. Okay, and also apart from these main ideas, we also need you to include a general conclusion. Okay, so this is going to be about 1,000 words approximately in English. Okay, you need to send it to this email account. Okay. And also now here the deadline is corrected now, so you have until the 12th of July, okay, to send it to this email account, which is actually my email account. Okay, yeah, so here you have the information. Don't hesitate to send us an email in case you have any questions or issues with these reports. We'll be very happy to answer and to help you with this. Okay. So as I was saying, this colloquium was part of these LiTE webinars that we've been developing as part of the LiTE Academy project. Okay, so far we've had these webinars that you can see on the screen. The three first webinars, these are already finished, but also on the website of the webinars, you will be able to find the links in case you miss any of them or you want to rewatch them. Okay, all of them are already available, and this one will also be available hopefully in the following days. Okay. And this one, the one you can see on the left, was actually the one we had on the 2nd of June last week. Okay, so here you also have the two remaining webinars. Okay, the following one will be next Tuesday, and this will be focused mainly on assessment, but obviously we'll be combining with the digital practices, IT inclusion, and multilingualism, which are the three ideas of the LiTE Academy. One which will be on the 29th. Again, this is also a Tuesday, if I'm not wrong. And this will be on the design of language learning tasks, also combining digital practices, inclusion, and multilingualism. Okay, so these will be the two final webinars that we have organized. They will be very interesting, I'm sure. Okay, so you will be able to see them. Okay, and also, well, that was all on my part. So if you have any technical questions or whatever you want to ask, or any additional comments that you want to share with us, feel free to use the chat or the Q&A tool. Yeah, and also again, thank you very much for attending the webinar, especially this very long session. Also, I forgot to say that, but the two remaining webinars will be again at our, let's say, normal or usual time. So that means they will be at 7 p.m. Okay, they will be around 1 hour, 1 hour and 15 minutes. Okay, so this is the only super long webinar that we had. Okay.
And we have a question in the Q&As that a person needs the certificate of the last two webinars. We have sent the certificates for webinars 1, 2, and 3. We are in the process of preparing and sending certificates for webinar 4 and of course for this one. Okay, so please give us some time because, we need to prepare them and you are lots of people actually. You cannot see the numbers, but it's over 100 in every webinar, reaching 200 and something in some of them. So, please. We really appreciate your patience.
Yeah, I mean, we need to send them one by one manually, so
yeah,
it takes time. But I mean, they will arrive. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so any other question or comment? Yeah, well, congratulations to all PhD candidates. Excellent presentations, says Diana. Okay, so thank you very much. And yeah, if there are no more comments or questions, we'll see you on Tuesday. And Shirley, we have sent you an email regarding your question. Okay, so thank you very much and see you next week. Okay, bye-bye. See you and thank you to all the presenters.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.